This discussion, set within the context of NFL rumors and headlines, centers around various player-related off-season scenarios in the National Football League. Hosted by Jacqueline D'Austino alongside her colleagues Katie Mox, Danny Cannell, and Pete Prisco, the group engages in a fact or fiction game, addressing some of the most talked-about off-season topics. The exchange offers in-depth opinions on player movements, team strategies, and market trends, particularly focusing on notable names such as Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Sam Darnold. Here is a detailed review of their conversation. 1. Cincinnati Bengals' ambitious offseason. The first major topic in this segment revolves around the Cincinnati Bengals' potential for a high-spending offseason, especially concerning three of their star players, Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, and T. Higgins. Pete Prisco argues that the Bengals will indeed retain all three players, citing the desire of Joe Burrow to keep his star teammates, along with the team's shifting approach to finances. He acknowledges that while the Bengals have been criticized in the past for not spending sufficiently, they are now in a better financial position and will likely find ways to retain their talent. However, Danny Cannell counters this by questioning the feasibility of keeping all three players. He brings up the point that Joe Burrow has already secured a lucrative contract, which may influence the Bengals' willingness to break the bank again for players like Jamar Chase, who is eager to get a hefty contract extension. Danny points out the complexity of balancing financial constraints with the desire to keep top-tier players on the roster. His skepticism underscores the challenge of maintaining a balanced team in the current salary cap-driven NFL. 2. Aaron Rodgers' future and suitability with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The next debate focuses on Aaron Rodgers' future, particularly regarding rumors that he could join the Pittsburgh Steelers. Danny Cannell and Pete Prisco both agree that Rodgers joining the Steelers is unlikely, primarily due to the team's past experiences with aging quarterbacks and the potential locker room dynamics. They recall the failed experiment with Russell Wilson and highlight how a veteran like Rodgers may not fit well with Steelers coach Mike Tomlin, who has managed personalities like Antonio Brown in the past. The two experts argue that Pittsburgh is better suited to find a long-term solution at quarterback rather than investing in a short-term fix like Rodgers. Pete also suggests that if Rodgers were to move, the Raiders or the Rams could be more appropriate landing spots, citing his familiarity with the Los Angeles area. Both analysts, however, are cautious about Rodgers' age and ability to maintain a high level of performance, pointing out that only players like Tom Brady have been able to defy the aging process successfully. 3. The Vikings quarterback dilemma and Sam Darnold. A discussion about the Minnesota Vikings centers on their decision regarding Sam Darnold, with a focus on whether the team should franchise tag him. Pete Prisco argues that the Vikings should tag Darnold, not only to retain him but also to explore the possibility of trading him for assets. He highlights the importance of maintaining flexibility, especially given the team's limited draft resources. Danny, in contrast, suggests that the Vikings' QB future may not be so clear-cut with a player like J.J. McCarthy involved. He raises concerns over the risk of pinning all hopes on McCarthy, especially after a significant injury, and thus proposes keeping Darnold for another year. Their disagreement underscores the uncertainty surrounding the quarterback position for the Vikings, with Pete advocating for a cautious approach and Danny pushing for greater evaluation of McCarthy's potential. 4. The Saquon Barkley situation and running back market trends. The conversation also delves into the running back market, spurred by Saquon Barkley's performance. Pete Prisco notes that, while Barkley had an outstanding season, the running back market is unlikely to see a major shift. He points out that Barkley's success is more of an exception than the rule, with running backs often having shorter careers due to wear and tear. He mentions that despite Barkley's achievements, it's unlikely that teams will suddenly start investing heavily in the running back position again, especially with cheaper alternatives available through the draft. Danny concurs but brings up the example of players like Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey, who have been exceptions to the norm. He suggests that these standout backs may have some influence, but ultimately, the economic realities of the position limit any long-term market shifts. Final thoughts. The segment offers a deep dive into various off-season rumors, with each panelist providing a unique perspective. The fact or fiction format serves as a vehicle for thoughtful debate, with the analysts dissecting player contracts, team strategies, and market conditions in the ever-evolving NFL. The discussions on Cincinnati's potential offseason moves, Aaron Rodgers' future, Sam Darnold's prospects, and the running back market trends are insightful, presenting a balanced mix of optimism, caution, and skepticism. Ultimately, the segment captures the tension that exists between the desire to build a championship-contending roster and the financial and logistical constraints faced by NFL teams. The deep analysis of these topics reflects the complexity of decision-making in professional football, where factors like player performance, salary caps, market trends, and team dynamics all intertwine to shape the future of franchises. The lively back-and-forth discussions keep the audience engaged, while also shedding light on the unpredictability of NFL roster building in a rapidly changing league.